Former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton has claimed she handed over all her emails relating to her time at the State Department. Well, it turns out that's not exactly true. The Department of Defense announcing they have found a new email chain between Secretary Clinton and General David Petraeus from 2009. Now, during that time, Petraeus was head of the U.S. Central Command. Joining me is South Carolina Representative Chairman of the House Select Committee on Benghazi, Trey Gowdy. Congressman, nice to see you. And do you have those emails that apparently the Defense Department found?
I don't think we have them yet, Greta, because they would not be within our jurisdiction. I noticed in your intro you cited the most recent example that the public record is not complete, that she didn't turn everything over. Of course, don't forget there were 15 emails to and from Sidney Blumenthal that she also never turned over to the State Department. So this is just the latest piece of evidence that the record is not complete.
All right. Now, just so I understand perfectly, is that the State Department is also going through a chunk of emails and turning them over every once in a while for you as they go through them as well, right? That's another source of emails?
Well, the State Department is going through kind of non-Benghazi related requests, FOIA requests, media requests, and that's at the end of every month. They gave us on Friday over 1,000 pages of her emails that they had never before given us. In fact, it was a larger amount of emails that they gave us Friday than what they gave us earlier in the year when they claimed to give us everything. So less than a month before Secretary Clinton comes before the committee and 3 years after Benghazi, the State Department is still producing emails.
Now, I've given you a little heat in the past because I thought, why don't you step it up and just get the report done? I do confess I see the problem. You don't have all the emails. You're supposed to interview her on October 22nd, and you're probably not going to get another chance, and yet you don't have a full sense that you have all the emails, at least sort of these late surprises. Do you believe now that you have all the emails and you'll have them in plenty of time before you interview her or she comes before your committee?
No, ma'am, we still don't have them all. They gave a Vaughn index as part of litigation. There are definitely Benghazi emails that they have not turned over, and they're not going to turn them over. They cite attorney-client privilege because Cheryl Mills was an attorney. So we would have to go to court for 2 years to be able to access that.
Except for one thing, except Cheryl Mills was not acting as a lawyer at the State Department. She was acting as chief of staff. I mean, you can't all of a sudden pull that one out of your hat and say suddenly, attorney-client privilege if you had a different job.
Well, you and I, if we were ever in the administration, we would just make sure and hire a chief of staff who happened to be an attorney, so we never had to turn anything over. But I would have to go to court to get a judge to kind of pierce that invocation of privilege. But no, we don't have all the emails. And yes, I'm going to be interviewing her on October 22nd without all the documents that I'm entitled to. And you and I wouldn't go to court like that. But this isn't court. And at a certain point, you got to talk to we talked to Mike Morrell today. I don't think anybody knows that. It certainly hasn't been broadcast to the media, but we talked to Mike Morrell today. We're talking to General Flynn tomorrow, who is a very important witness that no committee's ever bothered to talk to. So we're doing the best job we can with the limitations placed on us.
All right. What's the one word that you would use tonight to describe her level of cooperation with your committee?
I like the word recalcitrant. It's a moving target, Greta. Every time she gives us an explanation for why she's done what she's done or why she hasn't done, that explanation winds up being demonstrably false. So at some point, under the theory that even a broken clock is right twice a day, at some point she's going to stumble upon something that happens to be accurate, but so far she has not.
Congressman, thank you very much for joining us. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.